a long time coming, Gerhard. We've been covering the SEC, the greatest conference in all of college sports. Talk about the SEC. Let's talk about this show. We're so excited. So much effort has gone into this, G.
Yeah.
And finally, day one is here.
Yeah, we've been able to have a digital platform and a lot of great teamwork to be able to put this thing in place and then be able to talk college ball, and I can't wait for it. It's just like kind of reminiscent of what football teams do during the course of the year, right before you roll out for game day. Game day is just a month early for us.
Yeah, tradition, passion, family, fun. That's what the SEC certainly has. That is what this show is going to have, and we cannot wait. Gerhard and I have covered Alabama and Auburn here out of Mobile for a long, long time. And, man, you just know that the heart of college football, the heart of college athletics is right here in the Southeastern Conference. Alabama, Auburn, known for a winning tradition for a long time in several different sports, but then right next door, we have the Mississippi schools. On the other side is Florida, Georgia. Yeah, as we know, the powerhouse that's become under Kirby Smart. But, man, what a joy it is to cover this conference, and cannot wait to talk the Southeastern Conference every single day here on the WKRG Plus app and all across all of Nexstar Nation as well in the Southeast every day from 2 to 4.
Yeah, this is incredible. And also, we've been blessed as well because a lot of our high school talent, they go to a lot of these SEC schools. We've had players sign at Florida. We've had players sign at Arkansas, at Oklahoma, at Texas. And so we've been blessed in multiple ways, not only covering this conference, but also having players from this area go out to other conferences as well.
Yeah, no question about that. And we're pumped to introduce everybody to a new guy, new member of the crew. Patrick Walsh is behind the scenes, running the show. Patrick, welcome in to Southeast Sports Plus, my guy, man. You've been doing such a great job behind the scenes, putting so much work into making today happen. How you feeling, bro?
I feel great. You know, it feels like the first day of school all over again.
It does.
You know, unloading a new project, getting to work on it. I got in pretty early this morning, I mean, I woke up, I had that bright attitude. I'm like, man, I cannot wait to get into work today.
And we love you for it. We love you for it.
He's
He's the young gun on the show. He brings the energy day in and day out. And man, what we do, what we're going to be doing every single day is a really, really cool project here. Nexstar Nation is going to be all hands on deck. We have great talent throughout this entire company in the Southeastern Conference. And today we're going to be able to touch base with several of those people. And we're going to start off the top with a guy named Roger Wallace. He is a longtime sports director there at KXAN there in Austin, covers the Texas Longhorns, also gets an inside look, Gerhard, at the program as part of the radio crew there.
Yeah, truly a unique perspective that Roger brings because he is so tied into the program, not just covering the program, he does that too, but also gets to sit in and week out with all the UT athletes. And this is an interesting year for Texas because there's so many expectations. We'll dive into that with Roger, but certainly very few have what he has as far as this business and as far as what he has inside that program.
Yeah, certainly appreciate his time and chatting with us. And then a little bit later, we're going to go up the road 65 north. Takes about 4 hours for me, 3 hours for Gerhard if you're driving to Birmingham. That's where we'll find Ariel Schaefer with WIAT. She's going to talk the Tide. They had media days today, and she's going to speak to one young superstar in Ryan Williams, the Alabama receiver who we saw front and center for 2 years there at Saraland, win back-to-back Mr. Football awards, and then leave early for Tuscaloosa. So looking forward to hearing from Ariel and chatting all things Alabama Crimson Tide. And then a little bit later in the show, we're going to call the Hogs with Courtney Mims. We did that at SEC Media Days, and Courtney's going to join from talk all things Arkansas there from Fayetteville. So looking forward to that for sure. And it feels like part of me feels like it was just yesterday we're at Media Days in Atlanta previewing this season. It also feels like it was a month ago with the amount of things we've done to get ready for today's show. But, man, it's been a wild ride. And as we know, the season is right around the corner.
Yeah, what I love about this time of year is that, like, SEC Media Days are now in the books. So all the talking has now, you know, it's in now. We all know we've kind of heard what they wanted us to hear about what their teams look like. And now we're getting the football on the ground and getting a look at practice. And that's the reason why Roger and Ariel and Courtney, they'll bring a lot of great insight because now we have a few practices in the books. The season starts in a little under a month from now. So we have a lot more information and we kind of filter out what we heard in Atlanta now be able to get some of the kind of the little meat in the potatoes as we go into the year.
Yeah, the real stuff. I mean, honestly, as we know, it's a lot of the fake stuff there in Atlanta. It's what you want to hear.
Yes,
and then,
yes.
in the case of some coaches, well, they close their doors for first day of practice there in Florida. So we don't really know what's going on with DJ Lagway. But we're going to wait to talk about Florida in just a moment. First, we're going to head to the Plains, talk about the Auburn Tigers, where Hugh Freeze enters year 3 there on the Plains, G. And right now, it's kind of do or die for our guy, Coach Freeze.
Yeah.
They need to get some wins under the belt. We know it's been 2 years of mediocrity and a lot of question marks and staff changes and a lot of inconsistency. Coach Freeze looking to really step the game up, and I think he likes what he has in his offense right now.
Yeah, this is a pivotal year for him, and I think that he's done really well on the recruiting trail last couple of years.
Yep.
2 top 10 classes. This past year, I know a lot of buzz was made about how Auburn's recruiting hasn't been, what they wanted.
Because he's playing too much golf?
Exactly. Yeah.
Which, by the way, we talked in that media days about that. And listen, leave the guy alone.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, be mad like in October if they're not winning ball games with the guys they've recruited. Then start complaining about the golf game. But don't be hating people for playing golf in the summer.
Exactly. When they say it means more, that's exactly what they're talking about. But what he says is that he really loves his wide receiver room. I think a lot of people were complaining about, Auburn doesn't have the same wide receiver caliber. It's like, well, no, he developed a lot of young talent.
Yeah.
And granted, keep in mind, Cam Coleman had a breakout year. Ryan Williams obviously took a lot of the headlines last year, but Cam Coleman was sensational a season ago. He stayed at Auburn.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people thought he would have left. He stayed. Perry Thompson, he stayed at Auburn as well. And then they have some other receivers that they're counting on this year to go along with that new quarterback in Jackson Arnold going into this season. I think that this is kind of a make or break. Might be a little strong, but I do think that he's got to show improvement and has to have at least a winning season, which he hasn't had the first 2 years.
Yeah, no doubt. When you talk about recruiting, I know that these are guys that are not brand new there, but the 2 you just named, they're from the state of Alabama.
Yes.
Okay, so as we know, Alabama, the university, certainly trying to recruit Alabama. Kalen DeBoer, we'll talk about the Tide later, but they stepped up the game in year 2 when it comes to getting in-state recruits. Hugh Freeze is hitting at home hard here and getting guys in-state to go to Auburn. That matters. And you can see it on the field. You can tell there's a passion that's involved when guys stay in-state when they play for the Auburn Tigers. And so, like you mentioned, Cam Coleman, a guy who has a spotlight on him. He did in high school. He certainly is going to try to take it to the next step with a quarterback that, like you mentioned as well, they like him. Peyton, nothing against Peyton Thorne a year ago, but this is a guy who, he did things well in the Big Ten, but there's a reason we're not doing a show in the Big Ten, okay? There's a reason that we're doing a show on the SEC, not the Big Ten, okay? There's a reason that we're getting everybody in Nexstar Nation talking about the SEC and not the Big Ten. I'm just going to put it like that, all right? And shout out to my guys there in Indianapolis. But here's the deal. He did it well at Michigan State. He didn't do it well at Auburn last year. Now they're bringing in a guy in Jackson Arnold, who, by the way, has experience in this conference.
Yeah, and he's won the National Player of the Year, the Gatorade National Player of the Year.
Yeah.
And Hugh Freeze saw that in high school and said, hey, this is a guy that can rekindle a lot of that magic that he had coming out of high school. Shaky up and down time there in Norman, came in for Dylan Gabriel as a backup, won a big bowl game there. Gabriel ended up going into Oregon. Now he's in the NFL. And so Jackson Arnold going into this season is like, okay, well, he is that guy. And then he beat Alabama last year, which I know was really big for Hugh Freeze going into the year as well. So I think anybody that has some reservations about what Jackson Arnold can be, I think that Hugh Freeze told you that going into the SEC Media Days.
Yeah, and we did have a chance to hear from Coach Freeze as practice officially underway on the Plains.
They are expectant and they do have confidence, but it's not until that confidence is credible that you really grow. And the only way for it to be credible is first have success out here in fall camp doing things and finding out this is who we are, we can do this, and our players know we can do this. And but then when it really takes off is when you have success in the win column. And that's what we've got to go do to really, I think this team has a chance to be a really, really exciting team to watch. Particularly can they get a win or two under their belt that even grows that confidence that they have right now. But right now they've got a pretty good swagger about them, and hopefully we can grow that throughout camp by the success we have, but really go get a W, and then they'll really be confident.
Grow the swag.
Yeah.
Swag surfing. If you've been at Jordan-Hare Stadium, when they play swag surfing, they get going. It doesn't matter who Auburn is playing.
Yeah.
That is a tough environment.
Yeah.
It is a really, really tough environment. I've seen, how many teams are in the SEC now? Like 50. And I've seen probably at least half of the stadiums. And I know Jordan-Hare Stadium is rocking when they get going.
It certainly is. But keep in mind, Simone, last year, Auburn started the season with 5 home games. they went 2-3. And so, I mean, it's a great home field advantage. However,
when you don't got the dogs, you don't got the dogs.
Right. Well, and last year, I think a lot of people thought that Peyton Thorne was going to be the guy, and you mentioned it. I think that fell a little bit short of expectations. They feel that Jackson Arnold this year can do it. But this year, they start on the road.
Yeah.
A big road game against Baylor.
Yes.
That, to me, is going to be an interesting one to set the tone for this overall season. It's not make or break, and especially with the 12-team playoff, you could lose a couple of games. But that, to me, is a game that if Auburn can win that one and get some confidence going into the rest of the year, that's huge for Hugh Freeze and his guys.
And it would be a huge confidence boost. This is the sort of thing where when you can go and play non-conference, and so you don't have that tightness that comes with, hey, okay, this is an SEC game, right? So they're going out of conference, but they're still playing a very high caliber team, a very capable team, obviously, in Baylor. Which conference are they in now? So, I mean, listen, that changes every 5 minutes, and no one ever knows. And at this point, there's so many changes in college football. But to be able to go on the road and to make some noise, and I think that right now, Coach Freeze feels like he has the guys to be able to do that. That's always good, because I think when we saw him move around SEC Media Days last year in Dallas, we were wanting him to hear about the run game. And he wasn't really talking about running backs.
Yeah.
We want to hear things from Coach Freeze, and we were wondering, okay, why does he not have more confidence than what we want Coach Freeze to have? And then, okay, he walks around this year, and he's like, yeah, I played golf. And yeah, I like my quarterback room. And yeah, we're ready to roll. And it seemed like he did have a little bit more swag.
Yeah, and I think that for him, he knows that his message is now set. His foundation is set. The guys know what to expect. Last year, there were so many problems, I think, with Auburn's offense last year. Number one, obviously, did not use Jarquez Hunter near enough to me. And then really relied on Peyton
like
Thorne.
the guy who wants to be the offensive coordinator right now.
I'm literally.
Hey, Patrick, that had a little bit of juice behind it right there. Did that have a little bit of juice behind it right there? Gerhard's from Birmingham. Let me just throw that out there right quick.
I'm saying he came in as one of the nation's top running backs.
Run the ball.
And run the football. Anyways, but even he said that in his press conference. Hey, we got to get the ball to 2-7. Got to get the ball to 2-7. I think this year.
He said it.
And
didn't mean they called it, though.
Didn't do it as much as they thought that they would. But I think this year what he's really, really excited about is his new quarterback and the passing game going into this season. Now, if they stumble on first and second down, they put themselves in a lot of third and long situations, Auburn fans will not be happy, because then you have a lot of short 3 and outs, and then things can go awry if you rely on the passing game and it doesn't work out very well. I think for Auburn this year, it's a lot of confidence in who they have coming back.
Yeah.
Derek Nix, the OC, is back. Hugh Freeze is back. Cam Coleman. Yep. I think there's just because a lot of the same people. Yes, for sure. And so going into this year, I think that's what they think is going to be the amplifier for them, is just a lot of the same people doing the exact same things, hopefully with a different result this year.
Yep, so Auburn will start things on the road at Baylor. A huge game, obviously, kind of a prove-it game. Then they'll come home and play Ball State. So they're going to go with some action there to open things up. A night game at Jordan-Hare Stadium. It'll always get crazy, even if it is Ball State coming in. And then one that we're going to have an eye on for sure is South Alabama goes to the Plains to play the Auburn Tigers. And so a really neat thing, I love when bigger schools in state play smaller schools, because I just think you're helping amplify the programs. There's a bigger school in this state that doesn't do that. Auburn does. That's all I'm going to say.
And they don't play anybody. I mean, they don't play UAB. They don't play.
Some folks really say they don't play
Stanford. But Auburn has played Stanford. They played Jacksonville State.
Oh yeah.
They've played now South Alabama. They're going to play Alabama A&M. I think Alabama State as well. So Auburn really does spread the love with the in-state teams.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it matters. I think it certainly helps put these programs on the map as well. But guys, listen, nothing like starting a brand new SEC show out with the Auburn Tigers. What else would you want there? So we got a lot more to come here over the next hour and 45 minutes. Like we mentioned, we're going to be talking Texas, the high expectations happening there with the young Manning looking to make a big splash in the Southeastern Conference. We're going to talk the Alabama Crimson Tide, Arkansas, and plenty more that Patrick Walsh put together for us. So honestly, we're going to kind of get to be surprised as we go to see what all we are chatting about. But we do know that fall camp is underway across the SEC. The season officially kicks off on August 30th, although some teams will be playing a little bit earlier in that week. We'll look at scheduling, look at the coaches poll, and a lot more over the next almost 2 hours, guys. We'll be here with you until 4 o'clock Central. But we will join you right after the break as we continue Southeast Sports Plus. Stay with us.
Outbound transmission?
Affirmative.
We're good.
Crew ready?
Check.
Downstream stations online?
Linked and locked.
In 3, 2, roll show open.
Welcome back into Southeast Sports Plus. Simone, Eli, Gerhard, Mathangani, Patrick Walsh behind the scenes joining you. And we are so excited to bring one of our good friends and who will now become a regular guest on this show, Roger Wallace, all the way from Austin, Texas, joining us to chat all things Texas Longhorns. And sir, I know that we are now in week 2 of fall camp. How are things out there in Austin? Were you practice this morning?
Hey, good evening or afternoon to you, Simone and Gary. Yeah, they worked out today. They had their first off day yesterday, and then tomorrow they'll put the pads on. So already a bit of news, guys. Multiple reports. We won't hear from Coach Sark again until tomorrow, but one of their offensive linemen figures to be in the rotation, Andre Kojo, a third-year guy, sophomore, redshirt sophomore, reportedly with an injury that'll keep him out some time. So that's the area. When we visited with you guys last week. That's the biggest area of concern, I think, when you start with Texas, that offensive line with 4 new starters. So a little hit to the depth coming out of practice. Again, not projected as a starter, so we'll see how that goes. But, of course, on the day, Texas, you believe it's the first time they've ever been preseason #1. There's a lot of history at UT, but they've never been #1, and that's what happened with the coaches poll today. So there'll be a lot to talk about when Coach Sark visits again with the media on Tuesday.
Yeah, pressure's on for sure there, Roger. Of course, you do a great job there as the sports director, long time there at KXAN, also a part of the Longhorns radio crew for quite some time as well. Let's a lot to unpack there. Let's pause on the preseason ranking #1 and go back to the offensive lineman situation. Obviously, that's a concern when you have a guy who is going to be your guy under center, who has gotten some valuable reps. Of course, we know that he's done some impressive things, but you still want to see what Arch Manning is going to bring to the SEC as a full-time starter. And the last thing you want to worry about are the 5 guys in front of him. And here we are, week 2 of fall camp, worrying about the 5 guys in front of him.
Yeah, and you're looking at a video of C.J. Baxter, #4, who went down in camp last year and didn't play a snap after a really good freshman year at running back. So kind of inevitable. You just hope you can absorb those injuries. But you're right, the offensive line, they want to be able to rotate 7, 8 if possible. So that took a hit. Again, not a projected starter, Kojo. Their lone returner is DJ Campbell, pretty highly regarded now for the NFL draft next year. He opted to come back, and that was a big deal. They've got a lot of guys with a lot of snaps at different positions, but they were blessed with some pretty good continuity on the offensive line for the last couple of years. So, yeah, Arch Manning's not going to be thrilled with anybody that protects him goes down. But this team's pretty deep. We'll see how they can absorb what looks like a pretty significant injury on the offensive line.
No question. Let's stay with the offense and let's stay with Arch. Roger, I've been blown away by the way he's handled the offseason, by the way he's handled all the expectations. And he has said it. I think he told Marty Smith this earlier this summer that, hey, I haven't earned anything yet for people to, taking selfies with me and all this stuff. But he understands the pressure, but I think he's got a great head on his shoulders. Have you been able to talk to him throughout the start here of fall camp and just how his mindset has been as he enters the year as QB1 officially?
Yeah, the only time was at media days. You guys were there as well. And again, I think we kind of know what we're getting with Arch until things go south a little bit. And, if there's a hiccup, we didn't have to deal with him last year after any big disappointment because the only games that they lost, he wasn't a significant player. Now, he played in that Georgia game in Austin when they pulled Quinn Ewers, but then they put Ewers back in. And then obviously in the SEC title game and the loss to Ohio State. So, again, and I'm sure Sark's the same way. He wants to see and hear Arch Manning when things don't go so well, when there is the old adversity, as they say. And, he's talked about his backup quarterbacks as well because no Texas quarterback has started every game since Sark has been here. But, Arch last year was locked in as the backup. Now they've got 3 guys, primarily 2. And he said, I want to see what they do when things don't go well in practice, and that'll give me a gauge. But, yeah, Arch Manning, he's playing the part. Now he feels a little more comfortable talking about himself because he is the starting quarterback, but the pedigree, not only as a football player, but kind of being able to handle everything that goes with being a high-profile quarterback certainly has helped him along the way. But what a baptism as the full-time starter when he goes to Ohio State at the end of the month. Oh, by the way, the number 2 team in the coaches poll.
A perfect setup, and does not shock me. Of course, talking to a longtime veteran there in Texas, as you are, Roger, so well respected and thought of. I know you've recently Sportscaster of the Year, so congratulations on that, by the way. And listen, man, when you talk about this Week 1 game, Texas and Ohio State going head-to-head, you have to imagine that when you're in Columbus, there's going to be a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. And if we know anything about Ryan Day, well, he has quite a bit to say, and he's going to get these guys fired up when you think about, hey, we are the defending national champs, so we're not coming in as the preseason number 1 team, but we're going to play the preseason number 1 team in Week 1. Yeah, talk about the storylines. They're going to already be written going into Week 1, and then the amount of pressure that is going to be on guys like Steve Sarkisian, like Arch Manning, like this team to have to go on the road and early on say, we've earned that preseason number 1 ranking.
I don't think there's any doubt that that's his message. Now, we all know the only difference and why they might not be flopped is Ohio State's going to have a new quarterback. They've got 3 that are trying to earn the job after Will Howard was so good last year after transferring from Kansas State. But, yeah, their cupboard is not bare. This Texas defense is going to be tested no matter who's taking snaps for the Buckeyes. We know what they're all about up front. And Jeremiah Smith, a lot of people like him as a Heisman favorite. One of the top receivers in the country. Didn't really do as much as people feared he would from a Texas perspective in that semifinal Cotton Bowl game, but nevertheless, he's outstanding. So, yeah, that's obvious. The other thing, though, guys, is I think both coaches secretly are going, well, it's Week 1, 1 and 2. As long as this thing doesn't get out of hand either way, you can certainly absorb a loss. If you're Texas, it's a road loss. If you're Ohio State, well, it was to the number 1 team in the nation, and then you kind of go about your business. But it's more so to me the team that wins it, and all of a sudden they get a little extra in the bank as far as, margin for error because they have that massive non-conference under their belt. But, yeah, it's going to be incredible. I remember 20 years ago when Texas went in there, and it was a top 5 matchup. Texas was number 2, and they snuck out of there. And I don't know, a lot of people remember, but Ohio State was rotating quarterbacks because Troy Smith had gotten into some trouble the previous year. So Jim Tressel was rotating Troy Smith and Justin Zwick. And it was Zwick who actually fumbled after Texas took the lead on the Lima Sweet touchdown late in the ball game. Longhorns got it back, and eventually they gave it back to Ohio State. And Troy Smith got sacked in the end zone for his safety, and that was that. But it's going to be crazy. It was crazy in 2005, and I imagine 20 years later, it's going to be just as insane. Although the difference will be noon kickoff compared to a night game back then.
Yeah, no question. Roger, one, noon kickoffs in Big Ten world are not fun, although it won't be nearly as hot up in Columbus as it would if it was being played there in Austin at noon or 11 a.m. Central Time. Roger, I want to ask, when you think about fall camp, when you think about practice, they get going, at what point or already is Texas now preparing for Ohio State? Obviously, it's a Week 1 game. You want things to be fresh. I know that you're very involved and close to the team. In your previous history, I know that Sark's only been there a couple of years at this point, but what have you seen out of when that transition is made? Because we do know that teams do get a jump on game prep prior to the week of their first game, but it's probably a little early right now, maybe? Or what are your thoughts there? What have you observed?
Yeah, I think maybe what happens is because it's a opener, the premier non-conference, as opposed to Week 2, which is what last year was with Michigan, what 2 years and 3 years ago were with Alabama, is that once they kind of get through the camp phase, and I think they're still in it probably for another week, they'll have a scrimmage on Saturday, closest thing. Now, you can put some stock in the scrimmage, but it's not going to make or break guys as far as starters and backups, but it is the closest they get to a game situation inside the stadium. But I think that will come 2 weeks out. I don't think they want to go hard on 2.5, 3 weeks strictly on Ohio State. So I think 2 weeks out, they'll slowly start to implement some stuff. Whereas if it was game 2, that premier game, they might go last year to a Michigan for a portion of training camp and then go back and get into game week for Colorado State. This year, it's a little bit different because it is that opener. And I think Ryan Day said that last week. He said, hey, Texas has got our attention from day one. We can't afford a misstep now because of what's looming opening day, when a lot of teams can afford to kind of ease into the season.
He was probably driving back from Atlanta preparing for Texas, Roger. Let's be honest, back in February or January. That's how he operates. Exhausting.
And Sark was on the bus from Dallas after the sting was off, that he was thinking about Ohio State. You're right. That's just the nature of the way coaches are. The only thing they're concerned about is what's in front of them. But I think we're still a little bit of ways away, Simone, from them, locking in on the Buckeyes.
Absolutely. I have a big picture question, Roger, and your unique perspective, I think, will offer a lot of insight on this. You've been with this team when they were in the Big 12 and then the move to the SEC. This time last year, it was all about 16 strong now. The addition of Texas and Oklahoma. Now, I know it's been in the works for a long time, but now that both teams are in, what's been the overall, think mindset for the fan base? Because obviously the SEC is its own thing, it's its own beast, but then Texas comes in and shows not only do they belong, but they're at the top of the heap just about. It made it all the way to the SEC championship game, one of the representatives in the college football playoff, and now the #1 team overall. What's been the general consensus with UT fans as it relates to this conference?
First, Garrick, dare I tell you that I cover them in the Southwest Conference?
You did.
For 1 year?
I was actually going to assume that, but I didn't want to edge
ask, but you didn't want to ask, right? They had face masks and everything.
Listen, they did build a statue of you, Roger, somewhere over there in Texas in the Broadcasting Hall of Fame. Man, you're a legend. There's no question.
Yeah, my first year was their last year in the Southwest Conference, and they won that and went to the old Alliance Bowl. In the Sugar Bowl, and lost to Virginia Tech. Anyway, to answer your question, I think it's kind of like anything new. You think it's going to be so different, and then once you get into the routine, it's just kind of what it is. And right now, that's where they are. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of anticipation after this first 2-year schedule, because that's the biggest question fans have: who's going to play and who's going to come to Austin. And honestly, guys, one of the big moves for Texas when they made that decision. Now, it was a big picture move. It was knowing where college sports was going, but the fan base never really was thrilled with the home Big 12 schedule, knowing that Oklahoma was never going to be at home. So you take away that matchup. Then A&M goes to the SEC. So you take away that every other year matchup. And yes, there were great teams that came through Austin. TCU had a run. Kansas State had a run. But it just didn't get the base excited like the names of the SEC. So that's the first thing. The second thing is the timing. It not only worked out well, but I think Sark had a lot to do with that, because they got beat up at Arkansas in his first year in a non-conference game. And all the chatter back then, they have no chance to line up against the top level of the SEC. Well, now they do. So,
that didn't take long.
I think they just kind of feel that, all right, this is where we are. This is college football, and we don't know the next iteration of realignment and shakeup. So they have their place, they have their money, and now they're building rivalries. Not to mention they get to rekindle a few rivalries. So it seems like it's pretty settled already. The big question is, do they go to the 9-game schedule next year and make sure that they play A&M every year? Because as it stands right now, Oklahoma is their every year rivalry game in an 8-game schedule. Most people think the 9-game schedule happens. But that's another one of the big question marks. How does that work out?
Yeah, and I feel like if the 9-game schedule happens, games like what we're going to see on August 30th will become less and less and less. There's already talk of what is more significant: a big win over a week 1 game like you have here, an opportunity for Ohio State and for Texas, or that glaring one loss when it comes down to what the playoffs look like. Because it seems like for a while there, what we've seen, Roger, is that having a loss, or at least early in the playoff situation, was you're out. If you have a loss, there's possibility you're in there. If you have 2 losses, you might as well just forget it. The significance of having a loss was so strong, it was even greater than the bigger wins. And it seems like if the SEC opts to go with a 9-game schedule, if they're going to pretty much cannibalize themselves in a way throughout the conference schedule, they will not have as many high caliber non-conference opponents there in the P4. Because why? Why, if you're already playing the best of the best in the SEC, why would you go play the best of the best in the Big Ten if at the end of the day a loss there is going to hurt you more than a win when you're looking at the playoff?
Well, I think that's obviously the sentiment. The SEC coaches not only do you add an SEC game? You take away a non-conference, presumably a home game. So there's that financial fact. Now, Texas on the books. They've got Ohio State coming in. They still have Michigan that has to return, and they've got a home and home with Notre Dame. Not to say those contracts couldn't be broken if they go to 9 and Chris Del Conte, the AD, and Steve Sarkisian think that's the best idea. I doubt they do, because I think that they feel like this program is at a place where it needs to still have that marquee game, and I think they get a lot of credit for that marquee non-conference game, especially when they go on the road, and I think it's a big chip for the fans when they come here. So I think that's part of it. But you're right. It's a risk-reward thing when you add that 9th game. The flip side is, when are we going to be at 16? And then I don't think it becomes as big of a deal when there's a 16-team playoff, because you can certainly absorb a couple of losses.
Yeah, Roger, well, before we let you go, I want to ask you, we were talking in the first block of the show about Auburn's opener, which is there at Baylor. So they're going on the road, Auburn Tigers, in year 3, and it's going to be a Friday night. Of course, balancing high school football. I know that you're locked in on what's going on there with the Longhorns. But any thoughts on that game, it being played on a Friday? The matchup, of course, big opportunity for both teams looking to make what would be a statement win for either program to start off this season on a Friday night.
Yeah, and you know, Simone, you know about Texas high school football, and you know, not only are the high school football coaches not thrilled, I'm sure Dave Aranda's not thrilled that he's taking some of the spotlight away from the high schools as well, because that's
the high schools might be taking spotlight away from them, quite frankly, the way those two programs have been going, honestly.
No doubt. You can look at it both ways. Now, his coaches can't be out on a Friday night looking at kids like they would if it was a home game and they could at least get around Central Texas. I think Baylor really likes where they are. I think they think Sawyer Robertson's a guy that can do some big things for them. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. You're right, on a Friday night in that stadium, small, but it's impressive, and they'll get that thing going. And you know how they're thinking. An SEC team coming in here, they'll feel like if they beat Auburn, they beat Texas and Texas A&M.
Absolutely,
no question.
And it's Auburn. Okay, now listen, and I want to see Auburn do well, but listen, if you're in the Southeastern Conference, you go on the road and you get beat. It doesn't matter who you are. You're feeling good about life.
That's the Super Bowl over there for those guys.
No doubt. No doubt. Roger Wallace, appreciate your time. This has been awesome, man. Looking forward to hopefully hearing from you later in the week, and maybe get an update on what's going on there as the Longhorns continue with fall camp under Steve Sarkisian. But right now, Sark, feeling good. I think he likes what he's got.
You know, he's going to say tomorrow, rankings don't mean anything. Fun to talk about. So we'll just keep talking about it.
No doubt.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you.
All right, guys. Thanks, Roger Wallace, their sports director at KXAN. Also, the part of the Longhorns radio network there with the football team as well. Great insight. And he already has Sark pegged. Sark is only about a chip off the block when it comes to Nick Saban, and those preseason rankings aren't going to mean a whole lot. But then, behind the scenes, there's going to be plenty of conversation, especially up there in Columbus.
No question about the Ohio State part of this, and that will definitely be fuel for Ryan Day, and naturally so. But I do get the reason why the coaches say Texas is one and Ohio State is two. As Roger said, Ohio State's still looking for a quarterback. Texas has their guy. So there's a lot of variations there. Roger made me really laugh there, because I was going to assume – I didn't know if Texas was still in the Southwestern Conference when he was covering the program.
I love that guy.
And I really did not want to say it, but I was just like – you've been there through the whole Big 12. Maybe the Southwestern Conference, I wasn't sure, but thankfully he said it. But it was that last year in it, and which lets you know just the credibility that he's got with that program.
And the guy's like a mind reader. I mean, literally, he was like setting me up for where we were even going next. Like, he was sitting in the booth with us, man. It's great stuff. Roger Wallace, can't wait to have him a couple times a week during the football season and beyond that as well, as we kick off things. Southeast Sports Plus coming up. We will continue on with the program. Much more to get to, including talking the Alabama Crimson Tide. They have a hot shot there at receiver. What will Ryan Williams be able to do in year 2 with Kayla DeBoer? That and plenty more after the break. Stay with us.
Can you guys hear me still?
Outbound transmission.
Affirmative.
Yes.
Crew ready?
Check.
Downstream stations online.
Linked and locked.
In 3, 2, roll show open.
Back on Southeast Sports Plus, and we're going to transition to the Alabama Crimson Tide. We talked to the I almost said Austin Longhorns, for the goodness sakes. Texas Longhorns, as we roll through all parts of Nexstar Nation. Roger Wallace a minute ago from Austin. We're going to head up 65 to Birmingham to chat with one of our good friends, Ariel Schaefer. Ariel, fresh in from Tuscaloosa. You were there this morning. Also, your alma mater, Ariel. Welcome into Southeast Sports Plus. How you doing, girl?
I'm doing good. Pleasure to be with you guys. You guys look great. The studio looks great. And yeah, just literally got back from Tuscaloosa like 5 minutes ago. So rushed right here just to join y'all today.
You are the best, girl. We appreciate you. And listen, we know that Alabama rolling into week 2 of fall camp. And so things are very, very busy in year 2 under Kalen DeBoer. Before we get into anything specific, what did you notice different, Ariel, this year from maybe last year in Kalen DeBoer's first ever fall camp? What are you seeing this year? It maybe gives Crimson Tide fans a sign of like, hey, things are clicking, things are a little more comfortable.
Yeah, I think it's been awesome for the first 4 practices. The media has been able to have at least 20 minutes where we get to have
just by the way, that hardly happened under Nick Saban, by the way. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to say that did not exist for about 17 years in Tuscaloosa. Go ahead.
No, it didn't. That's one thing that's great about Kalen DeBoer. He really wants the media, he trusts the media, and wants us to be able to have that full inside access. Yep. And I think, we spoke about it at media days. When Alabama rolled in with the 3 guys and Coach DeBoer, there was like this unspoken confidence that they had, like very excited to not only show what Alabama can do this season, but also to prove a lot of people wrong and get back into that SEC title with the contention with that college football playoff, and then ultimately compete for a national title. And everyone just looks so smooth, fluid. Everyone knows where they're going, where their matchups are. They have the connection and the personnel, and they're in sync too. And specifically, the secondary has been stood out to me mostly with being the most in sync this year. The guys understand their assignment. They understand the schemes by Coach Womack, but also offensively, it's going to take some time, a little bit. They always say your offense is going to be one that's going to be most improved as the season does roll on. Don't expect everyone to be right where they need to be in the first couple of weeks, and they do have a new offensive coordinator in Ryan Grubb, but the defense, Simone, first impression, they look good. They look really, really good and really, really solid.
We know Kenny Womack's having fired up, though, G. No doubt about that.
No question. And you mentioned the guys that when they were at SEC Media Days, and we got a chance to catch up with Deontay Lawson. I know you caught up with Tim Keenan as well. Let's talk a little bit about that defense, because one of the things that Lawson said was that, hey, we all now know the verbiage. We all now know what to do. And you alluded to it, the fact that they know where to go in practice and everything else. How comfortable is this defense, and where are the strengths? Because to me, I see it on all 3 levels, but you've had that really close hand look there.
Yeah, no, and I spoke to Deontay Lawson today, and he said to me, maybe he didn't say it at media days, but he felt like he had to come back because he wanted to prove a point, and he had unfinished business at Alabama. It didn't feel right for him to go to the pros, despite having the injury. Didn't feel right for him to go to the pros because he wants to leave a lasting legacy at Alabama. And him and Justin Jefferson and Quay Rousseau in that linebacker room, my goodness, they are huge, number one. They are fast.
She's drinking the Kane Womack Kool-Aid. I'm just going to say that really quick. Ariel, you are drinking the Kane Womack Kool-Aid right now, girl.
This man shows up in a tracksuit at 110-degree weather.
Welcome to Alabama football, high school football coaches, and if you played at if you coached at Alabama, that is what you're wearing. I love it.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We gotta get a hit on that, because my man, I said to him like, hey, is this like a feng shui type thing? He goes, I can't even spell feng shui. It's just something I just always have had. Like
what's feng shui?
Feng shui is it's aesthetic, right? It's like an
aesthetic, yeah.
Okay, listen.
Exactly.
All I can contribute to this conversation is that I'm married to a high school football coach who does the same thing. It's twofold. One, it's a weight loss program, just naturally built in. You're out there running around. What he told me was that players cannot then complain about the heat because they are not dressed like that. So if you're wearing a sweatsuit and you're sweating, then it's like a mind. It's like like, listen. Okay. I am sitting here drenched in sweat, and I'm wearing twice as much clothes as you. You can't complain about how hot it is. That was like kind of like the mind game that coaches are playing with players. So I mean, maybe that's Kane Womack would not surprise me. That's the sort of thing he wants to get in their butt, no question about it, and that's the sort of thing he would do.
Yeah, no, and he said he will show up in that full tracksuit in Florida State when it's like 100% humidity on that first week on August 30th. He already did tell me that.
Yeah, love that.
The linebackers. Yeah, just like to go off of Gerhard's saying, the linebackers, the one thing that has been really specific and pushed out is that since, they had some injuries last year, obviously, with Deontay going down. But just in case something like that has happened again, also you lose Jahad Campbell. How is Justin Jefferson going to step up? How is Quay Russo going to step up? And also versatility for them to also be able to execute on the inside and the outside. That's one thing Alabama didn't really have last year. So if something does go wrong, somebody goes down, you can fill in really quickly and just notice nothing on the field. And that was the biggest thing. And it's just the linebackers. They're just massive human beings. Yeah. It's just, I feel short, and I'm almost 6 foot, and I just feel so tiny standing next
Ariel,
to
there's
them.
a reason that you were on the Alabama road team and that you were not in Alabama's front seven there, for no question about that. Listen, okay, Ariel, we've been watching some of the offensive practice right now. We know that there's a little bit of a quarterback battle, if you will. I think that we understand where coaches are leaning in things, but when you think about who is going to be some of those weapons, one guy stands out, no question, Ryan Williams. As we know, EA Sports, two-time Mr. Football winner. We got him up close and personal for 3 years because, of course, after his junior season of high school, he said, deuces, I'm going to go play in college. He checked out really quickly, as we know. I think, first 2 catches were touchdowns there in Tuscaloosa. We knew he was going to be that guy, and he is. When it comes to what he can bring into his sophomore campaign, Ariel, what have you seen from practice? And then who's going to be throwing him the ball?
Yeah, I mean, it was so funny the first day that we got to see Ryan Williams. Of course, he was catching some one-handed crazy from Ty Simpson. We're like, okay, he hasn't changed, he's back or whatever. But when I spoke to Ryan today, I asked him specifically, how does it feel to be the hunted? Do you feel like you're the hunted? Do you feel like you have a target on your back? He said the pressure is the
Sorry, I'm in your way.
And he took that really personally in the weight room this offseason, just really trying to build that muscle mass. We know how explosive he could be. Their strength coach, David Ballou, told me today that Ryan is just like speed. He's like 110%. He'll just go. But it was just more trying to strengthen him up and beef him up a little bit. Yeah. He likes to call bully ball and just be able to execute, not only just to stay stagnant, because he led Alabama in receiving yards last year. He led them in receiving touchdowns, but he only had 8 receiving touchdowns, which is kind of like crazy to think about because of his impact. You feel like he would have a lot more. Sure. But when I spoke to him, and we'll play the clip in a second, it was just wanting to not settle and just to be better because he does feel like he has a target on his back.
Yeah, let's take a listen to Ryan earlier today at Alabama's Media Day there in Tuscaloosa.
I mean, my whole life, that's really what it's been. I played at Sarah Land High School. We won the state championship, came back the next year, went back to the state championship. So being a hunted has never been a problem. I mean, it's harder to be the hunted than, go be a hunter. So, it's just something, like I say, pressure is privilege. So just, it's not something that I'm focused on, but it's definitely a blessing to, be the hunted. This season, after last season, just being banged up a little, it's definitely something that I focused on, just because I know going into this year, I wanted to be on the other end of the stick. I wanted to play bully ball this year, and the training staff has done a great job helping out. The strength staff has done an amazing job just putting me in position to be able to, grow the way that I did, and just being able to have a full year's worth, of focus on, building my body it's been amazing.
Williams. The great thing about Ryan Williams is that that's exactly the same guy that we covered the last 2 years. And I know he finally turned 18, so that's something that we cannot talk about and hear about all football season. But he's that same guy. He had that type of maturity and that type of just complete disposition every single time that he met with us when he was in high school. And I think he also knows that there's a target on his back, Ariel, and that comes with, in the SEC, some physicality. And guys taking that extra, like bump and grub when you get down there and, get a big catch and you're 50 yards downfield and, if there's 7 dudes piling up on you, it gets a little rougher there in year 2 when you were in front of EA Sports.
Absolutely. And he gave so much credit to just other guys in the wide receiver room. There's so many younger faces that now we'll get to see more. I talked to Isaiah Horton today. He's a guy that has grown from his freshman to his sophomore season and feels more comfortable with the scheme, but feels like this receiver room is getting pushed by Ryan Grubb, and also just have the connection with the quarterbacks, because we all know there's a race going on. But there's, Jalen Hale, Jeremy Bernard. It's just, I think maybe we'll see a lot more air raid compared to years past, and not just relying on the run. But that also does depend on how that offensive line is going to do if Bama could establish the run this year.
Question. Absolutely. You mentioned Ryan Grubb, and I think that he's probably one of the most interesting pieces coming into this year, because everybody saw what his offense looked like at Washington. People saw a little bit what it looked like when he had some time in the NFL and places out west. But now he's coming into the SEC. He talks about how he's really hard on those wide receivers. What do you expect this offense to look like, and just some of the ways they'll be able to attack defenses?
Just more balanced. I think, when there was panic last year with Milroe and he couldn't really find any options downfield, or, had to run around in the pocket, it's just result was just to run. And that was just what he was known to do. It is no offense to Jalen Milroe or anything. He was a great player. He did great things for Alabama. But I really think you're going to start to see the mastermind behind Kalen DeBoer and the offensive strategy that he really had in Washington. And also, too, I think it makes a huge statement like, you're bringing Ryan Grubb in, but they kept Nick Sheridan on the staff to specifically work with the quarterbacks. And you think about the success that Michael Penix had with Coach DeBoer, with Coach Sheridan, and with Coach Grubb in that second year of Washington. I could definitely see you'll see a lot more offensive packages, some really cool schemes, the systems that maybe we haven't seen before. But I think the big thing too was establishing an offensive line, a big offensive line, and that's what Bama did this year. You have most of those guys coming back, and I just think you're going to see a lot more options. They're not going to be one-dimensional. They're going to be more aggressive, but just more adaptive to the SEC, really. Yeah, great stuff, Ariel. No question. The offensive line, similar to what we heard from Roger Wallace a minute ago there in Austin. Every single year, as a fan, sometimes you don't always pay a lot of attention to what's happening there up front, of course, until a guy gets sacked, and then everyone's pointing the fingers at the guys up front. But that is why that development and that continuity, when you can have guys coming back, that is certainly going to be helpful there for what's going on in Tuscaloosa. Ariel, great stuff. We really appreciate it. Looking forward to having you on the show as we get ready for week 1. Alabama will be at Florida State. So the Tide also going out of conference, of course, to kick things off there in week 1. But Ariel, great stuff. Thank you so much. Looking forward to hearing back from you as fall camp rolls on. Yeah, absolutely, guys. Thanks so much. And am I allowed to say Roll Tide on here because I'm an alum? You know what? Bring it on. Yeah. Gave us a good one. Roll Tide. If I was a rower, it was Row Tide. Row Tide. Row Tide. Next show, we're gonna need to get your headshot so we can see what it looks like. We're gonna need some highlights there from Ariel's rowing days there with the Crimson Tide. All right, good stuff. Ariel Schaefer, appreciate your time there in Birmingham with WIAT. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Ariel. Good stuff. We're going to keep it rolling here. Man, the first hour's flown by. Great stuff from Roger Wallace, Ariel Schaefer, as we talked Texas, Alabama. Much more to come here on Southeast Sports Plus. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Outbound transmission?
Affirmative.
Crew ready?
Check.
Downstream stations online?
Linked and locked.
In 3, 2, roll show open.
Back here on Southeast Sports Plus, a lot of great stuff in the first hour of the show, first ever hour. Gerhard, first takeaways from Texas, from Alabama, 2 teams that certainly have the spotlight going into this season. I thought Roger was awesome because he was able to lay out what this team, that is now the #1 team officially according to the coaches poll, will look like going into the year. And I think with Ariel, got a lot of really good insight about Ryan Grubb. I think a lot of people are questioning what this offense will look like. Obviously, still have to solidify a starting quarterback. I think everybody knows who they think it is. But then, of course, the star, Ryan Williams, and that's what you led with, deservedly so.
the cover guy for the college football game. Got a lot of great insight there from the Crimson Tide as well. Expected to have another big year.
Yeah, and we have a lot more to come on the show. Of course, Patrick Walsh there behind the scenes. And Patrick, we're going to talk a little bit about Brian Kelly. What's he going to do in LSU? Listen, he was in the headlines over the last 24 hours or so because of the video that was put out by LSU. We'll get to some of that. I'm not sure you guys seen the practice video. I'll bring that up a little bit later. Good tease, Simone. But Patrick, takeaways from the first hour.
You know, it feels good that we've got this show going on.
You know what? Spoken like the guy who has hit all the buttons. So we're just sitting here talking. So he's behind the scenes going, listen, this is going so well. That's all I can say at this point. But a lot of great insight. And I think that one thing about the SEC is that we're proud of covering our programs closely, but also the friendships that we have throughout the entire conference. And we got to see that SEC Media Days and already in the first hour of this show, Patrick.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Roger was a great guest to have on. He's super knowledgeable, pulling out the Southwest Conference. I mean,
gotta love it, gotta love it. And then Ariel, of course, as well. Former student athlete there at Alabama, and good stuff overall. So we'll talk plenty more coming up. Get to Florida's quarterback situation, talk LSU, talk to Courtney Mims as we're calling the Hogs. That is just ahead on Southeast Sports Plus. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
In our neck of the woods, sports is tradition. Sports is passion. Sports is family. Sports is fun. Welcome to our house. This is Southeast Sports Plus live with Simone and Gerhard Mathangani.
Welcome back in. Welcome back into Southeast Sports Plus. Simone, Gerhard Mathangani joining you. Patrick Walsh behind the scenes, and we are going into hour two and going to talk about the LSU Tigers. When you talk about tradition, Gerhard, LSU has had a long storied tradition in the Southeastern Conference. When I was creating that show open for this show, I was like, let's go find some Death Valley shots.
Yeah.
And man, you've seen some crazy things happen in Death Valley. I've been there. You've been there, covered games. When you talk about LSU under Brian Kelly, what is the next step going to look like? And I know Tiger fans are hungry to see whatever that is going to be, hopefully, improvement.
Especially when the last two coaches have won national championships. Ed Orgeron won a national championship.
That's a good point.
And Les Miles won a national championship. And then before that, Nick Saban won a national championship. So this is a program that's used to winning. That's used to being not only having great talent, because just like Alabama, Louisiana, I mean, right there in that area, right there close to Baton Rouge and close to New Orleans, they can get most of their talent straight from there. And then, of course, Texas is right next door as well. This is a program to me that they expect to win. I think they like what Brian Kelly has done so far, but it's almost like Auburn, except maybe a step above, where it's like, hey, we want you to take that next step. And I think this year, going into the season, Brian Kelly feels more ready for his team to take that next step because the foundation now has been laid going into year 4. Yeah,
it always feels good when you have a guy who's under center and Nussmeier coming back, and a guy who you feel like is going to be, not only leading the offense but leading the locker room. I mean, that's one thing about coaching, especially in this conference, really in any level of football, is you want what you're saying to be reiterated by the players.
Absolutely.
You have to have a player-led locker room as well, and when you are taking time to integrate what you want as the standard, that takes a couple of years. So Brian Kelly is now going into year 4 there in Baton Rouge. I think he's taken his licks a little bit in the SEC, but now they come in as the preseason number 9th ranked team.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that's a little high. How do you feel about number 9?
I think it's accurate
based
on their talent. Yeah, I think it's accurate based on their talent and the fact they have Garrett Nussmeier coming back. He threw for more than 4,000 yards a year ago. A really talented offensive line. I know they lost Will Taylor that went going to the NFL. To me, this is a program that has everything in place. They have good receivers. They have a good running game. They have a solid defense. And then they have a coach that's done it before. At one of the highest levels, obviously at Notre Dame. But Notre Dame has regrouped, rebounded. They played for a national championship last year. Now can LSU?
Not under Brian Kelly, they didn't.
No, I'm saying like with Brian Kelly as defensive coordinator.
I just want to put it out there.
Oh yeah, and so the key would be was, hey, Brian Kelly, your old school has now played for a national championship. Your predecessor won a national championship here at LSU. Now can you take that next step? I will say though, under Brian Kelly, year two and year 3 at his last few stops have been really good for him.
Yes.
And 10 wins, I think, at Notre Dame in year 2 and year 3. Yeah. So can this year be that next phase for him as he goes to that next season?
Patrick, didn't you fill out the media poll? And speaking of the media poll, who did you pick to win the conference?
I think I had LSU winning the conference.
You did LSU. Okay,
did.
all right. I don't put you on the spot here, but why? What do you like about this LSU team that says, hey, this is who is going to be holding a championship trophy in Atlanta later this year?
Well, I think the talent is there. It's just, can Brian Kelly finally get over the hump? I mean, as you might have seen just a few minutes ago, he's 0-3 in season openers, and he's got no cupcake to open up the season going to the other Death Valley, which Death Valley versus Death Valley, there's tons of, controversy.
Yep.
No, we're the real Death Valley. No, we are.
Just college football. Yeah, great parts about college football.
Just college football talk.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think this is the year where, first of all, he needs to win game one, because that will take a lot of pressure off of his back personally. Because, I mean, you've got your guy, Garrett Nussmeier. He's the only returning quarterback in college football that threw for 4,000 yards last year coming back. Mm-hmm. You've got this loaded team. It's like win or bust, basically. You look at pro sports. I guess I can kind of compare it to, like, a trade deadline. Mm-hmm. You got your teams that are all in. You got your conservative buyers, conservative sellers. LSU, they would be all the way at the top at win now.
Yeah.
It's Death Valley, but since you brought it up.
Yeah. It's LSU.
Okay. I just want to make sure that this show was okay. Patrick,
it's LSU.
Did you have a take on this?
See.
Oh, here we go.
No.
That's what happens when we get some guy from New York to come down here and help produce this show. You know what? Have you ever been to the actual Death Valley in Baton Rouge?
No, and that's why. That's why
I've never been to Clemson.
Right
I don't need to be. I don't need to go to Clemson. I don't need to go to Clemson to know which one is Death Valley. I don't care how fast Dabo runs down that hill. I don't care about Enter Sandman or what else is going on there.
Let me channel my inner Les Miles. I need grass to chew on. Welcome to Death Valley, where opponents' dreams go to die.
Yes. That needs to be a part of the open for the rest of the year. And with a clip of Les Miles eating grass. Because, wow. Is that so accurate? Listen, I've been to LSU and I've been to a lot of college football stadiums from all the way from the West Coast to the East Coast, everywhere in between. When you walk in to Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, there is not a feeling like it that exists in college sports.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, you walk up and the fans. Well, I'm the media, okay, so I was never wearing an opponent's color. I was just walking up, and first of all, I'm not gonna lie, it's great. They're offering you jambalaya, you got some this, and now there's some heckling going on. It wasn't really towards the media. On the way out, you might want to have some earplugs, especially if LSU has beat your team, because I'm telling you, there's no telling what is coming out of their mouth. But it's all in great love. It's all in passion for the game, and man. Death Valley at night. It is unbelievable. The lighting, the tiger eye in the center. I've been there in the middle of a downpour when they played Auburn in 2013 and sitting there in the media room and there's nothing but just water just coming down and these fans, they didn't move. I mean, it was packed out and they're totally dialed in. Wow. Baton Rouge, Louisiana, they get after it. And there's no atmosphere like it in college sports.
None at all. The one game I remember is when T.J. Yeldon caught that pass from A.J. McCarron.
Here, but I have chills.
A.J. McCarron to T.J. Yeldon, two guys from the Gulf Coast here of Alabama, and ended up winning that game, and then I think went on to end up going to win the national championship.
Yep.
This is to me, this is a program that, like, I think that they have healthy expectations going into the year. I think they got a little tired of Ed Orgeron at the beginning because I felt like they thought, hey, this was the most talented team on all of college football.
Sure.
I think Brian Kelly is a proven coach, and you really don't want to start over right now, especially on the run that Georgia's on, especially on the run that Texas is on, especially on the run that I think a lot of people think Alabama will be on this year. I think they're patient with him, but this is a make-or-break year.
Yeah, I just looked up the score of that game, and it was actually the year before. So first of all, the game that you're bringing up right now was a 21-17 game, which for 25 would be an unbelievably low-scoring game. And that was 2012. 2011 was the game that was on my mind because for some reason I thought that's where it went when you talked about T.J. Yeldon. That was 9-6. You remember back in the day when the Southeastern Conference was nothing. It was all defense. It was college football. I mean, all of college football has changed, not just the SEC. Sure. But wow, to think that nowadays we are seeing these games that are in the 50s. I mean, you have to score 50 to win. At this point, 9-6. That was only about 10 after that. Okay, I lied. 11 was a long time ago. It was 25. Now it's 14 years ago. We covered this conference for too long. But listen, when you think about what all this program has entailed, and you think about the giants of the Southeastern Conference.
Absolutely.
Brian Kelly likes what he has, and I think that he knows that he had to get settled in the SEC a little bit. Even though you are at Notre Dame, and it's Notre Dame is Notre Dame, you still come down here and you realize, okay, scheduling isn't easy. Recruiting dang sure isn't easy, but the expectation is not going to drop off.
Right, no question. And I think for him, he understood he's coming to a talent-rich area. Can he get those guys to buy into his program? And I think that's been the key. Coming into this year, they got one of the best defensive players in the entire country, Harold Perkins Jr. at linebacker, did not go to the NFL, ended up coming back to LSU. I think that Brian Kelly wanted the challenge, and now this is that year it feels like, can you execute and can you make good on the promise that you had to yourself as one of the best coaches in football?
And LSU last year, late in the year, had a big opportunity when they were looking to rebound after losing to Alabama, and they went to Florida and lost. And it was during a time where Florida was trying to turn things around under Billy Napier. They started getting some things going offensively, and it won't take very long to get into this season, and we will see that rivalry rematch once again. So LSU is going to be at Clemson, then they're home against La Tech, and then it's LSU, Florida, week 3 of the college football season. Man, that's not a lot of time. They're opening things up against each other in SEC play.
And I think you teed that up perfectly, because last year that game was so huge, I think, for both programs.
Yeah.
For Florida, it gave them the confidence that they have right now going into the season, because that was when you got a really good chance to see DJ Lagway against a really good defense, against an LSU team that had been playing really well up until that point. So Florida, they got what they needed out of that game as far as their confidence goes. And then for LSU, it was a bit of a bubble burst, because that game, to me, basically solidified the fact that they were not going to play in the college football playoff. And so for that game to be so early this year, I think it's really interesting, because Patrick mentioned game 1 being a really pivotal game for LSU going into the season against Clemson. That's a huge one to open up SEC play.
Yeah, it definitely is. And when we're talking about the Gators, DJ Lagway, one of about a dozen quarterbacks that were in Atlanta a few weeks ago, looking good, looking healthy. And then the Florida Gators kicked off fall camp, and Billy Napier closed the doors. He said, hey, we're not going to have the media view what's happening here in Gainesville. We find out that Lagway is in a boot and dealing with an injury, a new injury, a lagging injury. We're not really sure. A nagging injury. What is the latest on DJ Lagway, and where are we at with that? He
just got back to practice. I'm glad you asked, because he just got back. There's not a lot of reports about how engaged he was, and I know quarterbacks are never live in practice. For those that don't know what that means, they don't get tackled, they don't get put to the ground a lot of times in practice. Sometimes every now and again accidentally it happens. But he was back, which was a key sign, and it really kind of gives some credence to what Billy Napier said at the beginning. It's like, oh, he's day-to-day, and it looks like he really was day-to-day. So he got back on the practice field on Saturday. Once again, he's dealing with a calf injury, and those calf injuries are really weird. We've seen this a lot in basketball, where calf injuries can turn to Achilles problems. And so you almost have to balance out just how much he plays on that, he practices on that, because it is strained, and he's not a small guy. He's a big guy, 6'3", 240 pounds. And so you don't want to put a lot of strain on that before the start of the regular season.
Yeah, no question about that. Certainly something to keep an eye on as we continue on here on Southeast Sports Plus. It's not going to take long for us to figure out who is going to be in the upper echelon of the Southeastern Conference. That's one thing about every single year, Gerhard, is that we only get a couple games in, and you start to really see who is going to be the elite. Now, of course, the season can throw some curveballs. You never really know. But when it comes to setting the tone early, those early Southeastern Conference games, week 3 of the season, week 4 of the season, you want to make your mark very, very quickly. And you have a coach in Billy Napier and in Brian Kelly, who, for different reasons, want to quickly prove that their quarterback is one of the quarterbacks to keep an eye on. Their quarterback is the Heisman Trophy guy at the end of the year. And what an opportunity that's going to be only in September.
That's an awesome quarterback matchup between two guys that ended the year on a really strong note. I mean, you mentioned it with DJ Lagway. 4 straight games to end the year. They won those games, and he played really well in those games as a true freshman, now coming into a sophomore season. Garrett Nussmeier at the end of the year, 2 out of 3 games, he threw for 300 yards. They won 3 of those games, including the Vanderbilt game. Also got 2 other huge wins where he threw for over 300 yards. I think, to me, that game for these two quarterbacks going into the season is monsters because, like you said, you don't want to get off on a bad foot in SEC play. And let's take it from LSU's vantage point. If you beat Clemson, then you win that second game. Now you beat Florida. What kind of mentality will you have going into the year?
Sure.
Same thing for Florida on the opposite side. No disrespect to Long Island. You beat Long Island with or without DJ Lagway.
The disrespect for Long Island on this show already in 2 programs that we had, one last week and this week, G, man. You get after Long Island.
I mean, no disrespect to Long Island.
Or New York.
I expect Florida's third-string quarterback to win that game against Long Island. But then you go to a big game against South Florida. Let's just say both those teams are 2-0 going into that matchup. And they look good going into that matchup. Sure. I think that might be one of the early marquee games to watch in the SEC.
Yeah, I certainly
possibly
think that it
top
is.
10
I mean, truly, and it always is. I mean, it doesn't really matter where those two teams go. And there's rivalries within the conference that might not be as big as the Iron Bowl or the Red River rivalry. I mean, but you have those Florida LSU, which, I mean, I'm not trying to take away from those two fan bases, but it matters just as much because it always just means more in the SEC. And we have much more content here on Southeast Sports Plus. Coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to bring in our good friend Courtney Mims all the way from Fayetteville to talk the Hogs as they're looking to make some noise in the SEC early on. We will have that coming after the break. Stay with us. Back here on Southeast Sports Plus, Simone, Eli, Gerhard, Mathangani, Patrick Walsh joining you as we roll on. And it was only a few short weeks ago that we were in Atlanta, and I had the opportunity for the first time ever to call the Hogs. And we're going to call upon our good friend Courtney Mims joining us from Fayetteville. Courtney, I think we should just go ahead and just rip the Band-Aid off here and call the Hogs. Okay, so I gotta stand by for this one. No, Gerhard, you're a part of this. Okay, Gerhard didn't get to be a part of this, so he really needs to commit. And we need a quick tutorial, a quick refresher.
Yeah, so guys, I have to say, Simone, the Hog fans saw you call the Hogs. Yes. They caught that clip. And they said, we don't know who this woman is, but we love her. We will take her in Arkansas because she did a great job at calling the Hogs. So Gerhard, can you do a job at it as Simone can?
I watched like a studious student as you taught Simone how to call the Hogs. So I'm ready to go.
No spirit fingers.
Okay, so guys, you start, the fingers. You got it?
A little bit though, but not crazy. Just a little.
Not crazy.
Okay.
Not crazy. Don't do happy fingers.
Not spirit fingers.
Don't go crazy. Yeah. Not spirit fingers. Just
you look like a mummy.
Put
your arms out.
I watch Jerry Jones do it.
There you go.
Spirit fingers right here.
Okay. Not spirit fingers. Just like.
Okay, Gerhard, you might have to back up a little bit because you just look like a mummy.
Hey, I'm calling the Hogs right here.
Big silly.
Let's go.
All right, you guys got to join me on the
We're
second
committed.
one.
Let's go.
Ooh. Pig suey.
All right, one more time.
Pig suey.
Whoa.
Razorback.
His voice just got.
Razorbacks at the end.
His voice just got.
Oh, I thought it was 3 times. I thought it was 3 times, Courtney.
Yes, we did 3. I did one before you guys. You guys.
Oh, okay. So you can just join in. You can just join in on verse 2.
Yeah.
Or verse 3.
It's like if you're sitting there getting like a drink of beer or something like that, while the guy next to you takes the first rep, and then you
don't gotta do
3.
3.
I mean, exactly. I feel like you can tag team with Pig Suey. Is that right, Courtney?
Yeah. Just hop in whenever you just somebody starts it.
Yeah.
And you can just hop on in.
Yeah. You got to keep the running count in your head because if they're on 2 and you think 1 and you do it for that 3rd time, you're gonna look like an idiot.
You're gonna be that guy. They're like, get him out of the tailgate, Courtney.
It's kind of like the wave. If you don't all do it at the same time, there is multiple of it happening at the same time.
Yes. I love that. Courtney, welcome into the show. Arkansas was not in the coaches poll, top 25 that came out today, but fall camp is underway for everybody, including the Hogs. First takeaways from what you see there in Fayetteville.
Yeah, so this team, Sam Pittman has been talking about it all offseason long. He said, look, you're going to like our size. You're going to immediately see a physical difference in this team. And when we were at Media Days, Simone, I think I even talked about it with you, that I felt like Taylon Green looked different, and we were correct. He actually had put on some weight, and it looks really, really good on him. But it's not just the starting QB, right? It's throughout the roster in every single position group. These guys look bigger, they look stronger. And so obviously summer conditioning helped. Obviously that's a little bit of recruiting as well, that they've recruited guys who are bigger, but their summer conditioning program was no frills. Ben Souders, their strength and conditioning director, said to us last week, he said, we cut out all the cute stuff. No more cute stuff. We're serious. We're locked
done with
in.
The cutesies.
Done with the cute stuff. Exactly, Simone. And so this is a team that really benefited from it. And so where they maybe are not as big, right, they made up it for in speed. So you're watching on your screen there some of the receivers that they've added on into this receiving core. And I don't know if many people know this, but why is Arkansas not showing up in the coaches poll? Because really people don't know what this team is going to look like. And that's mainly because you lost your top 8 pass catchers from last year. You lost a guy like Andrew Armstrong, who led the SEC in receiving, right? You lost Isaac Tesla, who's balling out right now with the Detroit Lions. You lost other guys to the transfer portal and graduation. And so they just don't really know. They know Taylon Green. They don't know who's around him right now. Who is he going to throw to? Who's going to be that go-to guy like an Andrew Armstrong? And so that's kind of what we're looking at in fall camp right now. And that's kind of what we're honing in on a little bit is, okay, we see you've got Taylon Green, but who do you have around him? And defensively, you've had to replace so many of your key guys, and your defensive line, totally different look. Your secondary, totally different look. So again, for Arkansas, it's just, you really don't know what you're going to get, like a box of chocolates, right?
Yeah.
To go to that.
That's what Hog fans want to hear, Courtney. That's the perfect way to put it.
It's kind of what we're saying, though. So there you go.
No question. Courtney, I know that Sam Pittman does not believe in moral victories and nothing besides actually winning the football game. But they played Texas really tough last year. And they also played Missouri really tough towards the end of the season, and then they got to win in the bowl game. The way they played in November and then in December, does that give them some sense of confidence, especially as you mentioned, their quarterback in Taylon Green?
Well, yeah, and I'll tell you what else gives them confidence is that you saw that those close games, right, and those close losses that Arkansas had. And while it infuriates Hog fans to go, we were this close to having a much better season than we did, there is something to take away from that. And that's honestly a crazy thing that came out last week from Ben Souders. I go back to their director of strength and conditioning. He said, I don't think you guys realize, and I don't think fans realize, nobody, how badly hurt Taylon Green was for like 9 games of the season, that we said week by week, we don't know if he's going to even play for us. And they went in and Taylon said, no, I'm going to play. I'm going to get through it because I'm your guy. I know I can do this. So there were times, guys, where Taylon maybe shouldn't have played. Right? And could that have made a difference with a completely healthy QB1 like him? And especially doing what he did last year, knowing he was hurt for 9 games is even more impressive. But I think that's something that's giving them confidence right now, is that you have your QB1 that's come back. Year 2 under Bobby Petrino. You guys have heard that magical phrase all SEC media days. There is something magical about quarterbacks that happens in year 2. They get more comfortable in this system. They're more familiar with the playbook. And so we know that Taylon feels a lot more confident, a lot more comfortable in year 2 now. So we're going to watch that jump. And that's what's giving everybody else a lot of confidence. That's what's given Sam Pittman a lot of confidence. Yep. Bobby Petrino, even Travis Williams, their defensive coordinator, was talking about that the other day, of just how big it was to have Taylon come back and be the leader for this team. And it almost was a trickle-down effect for everybody else. It was a trickle-down effect for everybody to go, oh my gosh, we have this guy back. He's better than before. He's completely healthy. And that's going to make a huge difference. So you're exactly right, Gerhard. You're exactly right.
It's so funny to me because we've talked about the confidence level of programs when they have a quarterback locked and loaded, but everyone's confident, okay? Mm-hmm. And they ain't going to have 12 teams do well. We had 12 quarterbacks or however many quarterbacks there at SEC Media Days, and it's not like all 12 are going to win the conference. Right. Not all 12 are going to have winning seasons, so something's got to give. Everyone feels good about themselves. But, hey, you know what? It's that time of year to do that because we haven't had to play any games yet. So if you're going to feel good now. We did have a chance to hear from Sam Pittman. Patrick's got that pulled up, so let's take a listen to the head hog, as Courtney told me is his name, lovingly the head hog. Let's take a listen.
There's a difference in what the public may know what y'all may know at times, and what we know. And so I really do like our depth. Who's going to run out there with the ones? I think that's good competition right now. So I think it's a good thing. I think we have more depth than we've had since I've been here. And therefore, when you have more depth, you have more competition. So I really like this team. I like the talent. I like the speed. For one of the few times we've got a big football team at every position. We're big. And certainly to survive in this league, you have to have some stature, some size to you.
There's nothing like starting off a new college football or college sports show, but talking football specifically and really talking a lot about the offensive line, which is, there's something that everyone wants to talk about, not, but it's so crucial, Courtney, to the success of college football programs. If you're big up front, if you have continuity up front, you feel like you can have success because you have to be able to protect the guy as good as you can feel about who it is you have under center. If you're not feeling good about who is protecting him, we just talked to Roger Wallace there in Austin. They have a little bit of a guy banged up who might be out for a minute, who's a good depth guy, but still, you want to feel solid with who is going to be there starting your starting five, front five. Well, how do you feel about where Arkansas is there in the trenches going into this season?
Well, they've reloaded there. I mean, you just heard Sam say they're bigger at every position group. One of them is the O-line. They have a guy that transferred in that is just seriously, and when I tell you guys this, he is a tank. He 100% might rival the Incredible Hulk. I mean, he is 6'8" and 344.
6'8"?
Yeah, 6'8" and 344 pounds.
Wow.
Let that sit right there. 300. And guess what, guys?
This guy up really quick.
When we saw him in spring, he was even bigger. He was 367, 366. So he's actually lost weight. He's actually slimmed down.
Wow.
He needed to get to a better weight to have more mobility and be able to be even more effective for them on the offensive line. So they 100%, Sam Pittman likes big offensive linemen, right? We've known that from his stint at Arkansas before and in the Brett Bielema days, right? You had big offensive lines who are ready to just hurt somebody, right? And that's exactly what you have right now with these guys. He also brought in some great transfers as well. And I'm not just saying Shaq McCoy the Tank. That's a name that you'll definitely have to keep an eye on. But, you've got like Caden Kittler as well. You've got Fernando Carmona, who came back for another year. Keyshawn Blackstock, all these guys that really, they feel confident that the offensive line can do better than they did last year. Because that was an issue, right? You talk about being able to protect Taylon Green. That was an issue. There were times, Simone, where I would watch and I would go, why is he running for his life every play?
Yeah.
If he had more time, if he was able to actually sit in the pocket, he would be a lot more, or he'd be able to do a lot more. Why Taylon Green didn't get hurt more last season? Because, I mean, seriously, with the amount of time they were giving him, I thought, oh my gosh, he's going to get killed out there. But why he didn't get hurt more is because it's Taylon Green. He was able to use his legs, right? He was able to see it and go, okay, get out, do something really athletic and keep the drive alive just purely based off his legs. We'd like to see a little bit less of that this year, if you believe it or not. I'd like to see him have some more time and make some more decisions, do those check downs, have enough time for all of that process. He will be able to do that, I believe, this year with this offensive line. That was one of the things that Sam wanted to do, go out in the portal, get offensive linemen. Taylon Green actually had a hand in recruiting these guys and handpicking some of these guys. So that not only Sam Pittman likes him, former O-line coach himself, you also have Taylon Green, who likes who you brought in and wanted to have a hand in picking those guys as well.
Courtney, Arkansas will open the season at home against Alabama State. Then they'll be back home week 2 against Arkansas State. And just a couple of weeks ago, Patrick Gerhard and myself were there at Sunbelt Media Day and chatting with Butch Jones. And, this is a guy who has a lot of experience at P5, P4 schools. He was coached at Alabama for a short time, of course, was the head coach at Tennessee for a long time, and feels really good about what he's done with that program in winning the bowl game against my alma mater, Bowling Green, here in the 68 Ventures Bowl at the end of last year, going into this offseason. And he walked around with a swagger and a love for Arkansas State that this man has not had his entire time there. Okay, every time that we've talked about Butch Jones at Arkansas State, every year we've gone at Sun Belt Media Days, he looks like he hates his life. I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah,
he does not look happy. And now he looks happy. Now he's like, hey, I'm going to buy into this. What type of atmosphere is this game for Arkansas State? It being an in-state opportunity. I mean, the upset, I can't imagine what that would look like. What can you shed some light on us here in Alabama land, what that looks like for you?
Well, this is a historic matchup, right? For a lot of different reasons, but for one, it hasn't happened before. For years and years and years, Arkansas did not want to play Arkansas State. It was just like not going to happen, really? Not going to be a thing. Yeah. So finally, it got to being where it was like, okay, they want to keep playing us. They're an in-state team, and I think it was always the reason why it never happened was because Arkansas was always afraid, right, of losing to Arkansas State.
Yeah,
right?
Alabama won't play anybody either. So yeah, we get it.
Exactly. Exactly. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying that how does that look for the program if you lose to Arkansas State, who's supposedly your little annoying cousin in the state, right? Like
it ain't good.
You know what I mean?
As I can tell you, yeah.
It's not going to be good for recruiting or anything. Yeah. So finally, the noise just got so much, right? Where it's just like, all right, we're going to play them. We're going to do it. We're going to play them. We're just going to do it. And so that game is being played not in Jonesboro. It's not being played in Fayetteville. It's being played at War Memorial Stadium. And so War Memorial Stadium, if you've never been there, guys, it's a stadium in Little Rock. Okay. Yeah, it's historic, very cool stadium, very, very, very old. I will say that it's very old. You feel like you've hopped in a time machine a little bit when you go to War Memorial and you're like, oh, wow, this is a very old stadium. But they do that for the history of the matchup. And it is a hard place to play. There's been SEC coaches on the record saying it's one of the hardest places to play, just with the noise level and the atmosphere. A lot of Little Rock fans who may not be able to travel to Fayetteville or things like that, they show up and they show out for this game. So imagine not only are they playing there, and Arkansas showing up, you also have another in-state opponent showing up for that game in Arkansas State, and a team that Arkansas has dodged for so long, and so they're very motivated. They are very motivated to come out and win this game. I believe a couple of their players, and Butch Jones as well, was on the record saying that it's their Super Bowl. So. Yeah.
And that when you have that type of mentality going into this, everybody's going to be fired up. When you have guys there at Arkansas State who maybe didn't get looked at by Arkansas. That's what they always say about when you're an in-state guy and you wanted to be recruited, you wanted to go play for the Hogs, and then you end up at a place like Arkansas State. And again, there's no diss on Arkansas State, but you always go into games with a chip on your shoulder. They actually say that a lot about the Iron Bowl rivalry, even though Alabama and Auburn are in the same, because a lot of guys grow up. That was how it was historically. A lot of guys grow up and they want to play for Alabama. They don't. And for a long time, it was like, okay, you go play for Auburn. Almost if it was like it's like a step brother type thing. And it's not me talking. That's just fans talking. But I feel like that's got to be a similar case scenario in the state of Arkansas, where if you are that guy who feels like you were, they turned an opposite eye, the Hogs did not recruit you, you end up at Arkansas State, and now there's a chip on your shoulder. Now, add in the fact that you can go handpick people wherever you want to pick them. Butch Jones knows guys who knows guys who knows guys in P4, so you know that he's getting people out of the portal for sure. They're going to be coming in guns blazing. It does not shock me that they've said that this is like their Super Bowl.
Yeah, and especially with just how much the fans care about this matchup, because you also have, you don't just have Arkansas fans. Yes, everybody in the state of Arkansas loves the Hogs, right? They treat the Hogs as a professional team here, but you also have people that now are going to feel a little conflicted, right? You might have people that root for the Hogs any other day of the week, but now this game, well, they've never matched up with Arkansas State, so I've never had to conflict. I went to Arkansas State. I'm a Red Wolves fan, and now I have to. This is weird. This is going to be weird. So I think there's a lot of people that are excited for that as well. And I think there's a lot of Arkansas State alum and a lot of Arkansas State fans that kind of feel like they can prove some people wrong here. That Arkansas State when you look at Arkansas' schedule, it's not easy, right? Even their non-conference opponents. You talk about Arkansas State, but you're also looking at they have to go to Memphis, Memphis isn't going to be a cakewalk. They also have to play Notre Dame. Oh my gosh, who scheduled that? I want to shake them. I'm going, what is, you have to play an SEC schedule that's hard as well. And now you're adding to that. So people are saying that Arkansas State, when you look holistically at that schedule, that they are one of the easiest games, if not the easiest game for Arkansas to win. That's also fueling everybody in this
What's
state
the line?
going,
What's the line? Is there an early line on this? Don't y'all have those resources, you and Patrick?
I will look up the line, but in the meantime, Courtney, Arkansas's win total for the season is 5.5. So it's to your point how strong their schedule is. If I were going to give you money to bet, would you bet the over or the under 5.5?
Under.
No way!
Wow.
I'm stunned.
So 4-8. 4-8 season.
Courtney, you have more pride than that. Just for, I mean, you might not be a fan. Where'd you graduate from?
I graduated from Florida.
Okay, never mind. You know what? This all makes sense now. She was took the under.
Okay.
It all makes sense.
Now, okay. Because we talked about this in Atlanta, how you are a big Gator. The Gators over under is 7.5.
Yeah, under. Bet the hammer the under.
She's realistic on both sides. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm kidding. Listen, I think the Gators will do really well. I do think they will. I just don't like to get too high about my own team. But then with Arkansas, I'd love to see them win and prove a lot of people wrong, right?
Yeah.
I'd love to see them beat that win total and prove a lot of people wrong. My thing is that there are so many questions. Like I said, guys, we have no idea who Taylor's throwing to. We have no idea, while this offensive line is redone and rejuvenated, we still don't really know what they're going to look like, right, against other SEC defenses. Sure. We don't know what they're going to look like against other competition. Same with the defensive line. There are a lot of new faces there as well. So while I say, yes, I have a lot of confidence in Arkansas, I also just know that there's a lot of questions that I have. Fair. I feel like that win total, listen, I'll say this, Gerhard, I'll say this. If they go and they beat Alabama A&M, they go and they beat Arkansas State, they go and they on the road and they beat Ole Miss, right? So they're 3-0. Okay. I feel like they're going to prove a lot of people wrong. I feel like you're looking at maybe an 8-win season.
Okay, so it's almost it's a little boom or bust. I like that. 33.5 points though, by the way, is the line. Is the early line. Arkansas's 33.5 point favorite over Arkansas State.
Okay, I lied. Butch Jones is full of it because he was talking like they had who knows? Who knows what
they've
what they're
lost.
Doing
to be fair with Arkansas State, to be fair, guys, I will say this: Arkansas State, as someone who has talked to their team and looked at what they have coming back and all of it, they've had to rebuild as well.
Yeah.
So I think they're also in the same boat where Butch Jones, yes, is very confident about his team, but that confidence could go very quickly if you don't have what it takes to battle with the big dogs, so to speak.
The longtime history of this game is incredibly one-sided with a 21-2 overall record there. So listen, we'll see. We will see what it looks like. But maybe what day is that actually?
It's early September, I think.
So that's September 6th. We're going to revisit this conversation on September 8th. And I'm telling you right now, we're going to record this moment. And so help me, if Butch Jones bet on himself and we bring it back on September 8th that they upset the Hogs, Courtney, there's going to be a crazy day there in Fayetteville for you, sis.
But her 5.5 under will be on point.
Yeah, that will be on point. And Sam Pittman might be thrown back onto that hot seat that he feel like he got off of for a hot second.
Yeah, it might be chaos here in Fayetteville. You guys might want to check on me.
We will.
Sanity-wise,
yes.
We
will.
I may not be able to call in just because there might be so much going on in this area.
Get the reliever. Have to get the back up there in Fayetteville. Courtney Mims, great stuff, girl. We appreciate you, and we will check back in as we gear up for Week 1. Arkansas will open the season. Do I have that
Alabama A&M?
Against Alabama A&M. Yep. All right, good stuff there in Fayetteville. Courtney, thank you so much for your time, girl.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, good stuff.
Thanks, Courtney.
Listen, calling the Hogs, you're bad at it.
Listen, I didn't know. Hey, I learned something new. So when you did it with her, she was very patient with you. I did not know that.
She had higher expectations for you. You're a former football player. I mean, that should mean something. Patrick,
because you don't. Because you don't.
Where did you rate his calling of the Hogs?
Here's the thing. The only thing
very mid.
Where I screwed up was that I did not know. I thought you had to do it 3 times. I did not know you just jump in on pick suey number 2.
Nobody really wants to hear that 3 times. Not even in Arkansas. They just do it. They commit to it because
That's why she counted her first one. She was like, yeah, I already did it one time.
Yeah,
I was like,
exactly. She's like, we're done.
less time for everybody else.
Patrick, you've not had the opportunity to do this on the program yet, but your time is coming.
Okay.
Your time is coming.
I'll be ready for it.
Bet on that. Bet on that. All right. Well, Patrick's told me 3 times you have to go to break. So we're going to do that. And when we come back, much more to chat about as we count down to the season and count down to a little bit of fun with SGP here on Southeast Sports Plus. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Back here on Southeast Sports Plus, Simone, Eli, Gerhard, Mathangani, Patrick Walsh, joining you back as we are chatting all things college football season right around the corner. It's already August 4th.
Yeah.
Wow. And teams are playing in 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
I mean, it is right around the corner, guys.
Yeah.
It feels like the energy in the state of Alabama and really all of the Southeastern Conference. You know, when people start to get a little bit wild, it's hot outside. I was going to say something I couldn't say on this program. It gets very hot.
Don't get fired, David.
I know. Can't get fired in the second hour of the first show. At least try to make it to day 2, guys. Listen, it starts to feel like fall, Patrick. Just so you know, and I know that this is going to be your first football season here.
Mm-hmm.
Sometime about mid-November, sometime in about right around like as we're gearing up for the Iron Bowl, we'll start to get a chill in the air.
Oh yeah.
You know, just kidding. Sometimes maybe it is in October, but we'll get like a chillier evening. But we stay pretty locked in with hot.
What's your definition of chilly? Because I mean, my definition.
Okay.
Yeah, this is gonna be
well,
a relative
first of
thing.
all, I'm from Ohio, so I can relate to that part of it. I'm talking chilly for here, meaning it's like there's a fall weather, like we're drinking PSLs and we actually feel like we should be drinking PSLs.
PSLs.
Pumpkin spice latte?
Oh
wow.
Oh my.
Sorry, I forgot we got a Starbucks girl in here.
Okay. Really?
She talks about That's about
this little boy who walks in every day with a frappuccino, like or whatever it is that you. He literally tried to call me out in my own program.
Would you rather be productive with caffeine or unproductive without caffeine?
Okay, well,
Kenzie's
actually,
going to be embarrassed that you know what a PSL is.
Actually, I think you're actually the perfect person. Did you know what a PSL was? I know what pumpkin spice latte is, but
I've never heard somebody call it that.
I'm going to say that pumpkin spice latte is not important enough here's a hot take. The pumpkin spice latte is not important enough of a drink to merit to be called by your initials.
I really hope that you guys can end this program in the last 16 minutes. I'm going to leave. This is not something that I will discuss. I will even argue or debate. Pumpkin spice lattes, PSL. You can walk up to anyone, any barista in America, any woman in America, and say, "What do you think about PSL?" And they're like, "Yeah, girl. Come about October, maybe late. I mean, listen, late September. We start getting our PSL on. Everyone's walking around with their orange. You got cute little scarves. We're feeling good. Except for in Alabama, you can't have a scarf. You have your orange drink, but there's no scarf. There's no boots. There's no nothing until like." Halloween.
So when's your first PSL usually?
Hold on, let's look.
When
to
is
see.
it too
Let me
early
look up
for
the
a
calendar.
PSL?
Well, first of all,
like...
I get it the first day that it's out.
Okay, so it
because
comes
it's available,
out. It comes at a certain point. Okay.
PSL. Oh my
Are there
gosh.
are there PSL like cardinal sins? Kind of like what's the thing with pants?
What day?
Like wearing white
PSL?
pants like after Labor Day or
August
something?
26th. August 26th. PSL day, guys, this year for
22
Starbucks.
days.
Feels a little.
Can we get a running countdown on the show? We are 22 days from the PSL.
You know what? We should put a little bug on the bottom of the screen. Countdown to PSL day.
We'll just have a ticker running across the bottom.
We're going to do a taste test. We're going to do a taste test on this show.
Okay.
And I cannot wait because you two are going to fall in love. And I'm telling you now, SGP will be loving PSL. That's all I got to say.
I don't love pumpkin, though. So does it taste like pumpkin?
No, it doesn't. Okay. I don't like pumpkin either.
Okay.
No,
all right. Cool.
No. You can pass on pumpkin
I'm
pie.
willing to try it out.
Pass on pumpkin, like all the, no. Pumpkin seeds. Everyone's like, oh, put them in the oven. No. When you when you carve things for Halloween, you throw them out. I ain't worried about nothing pumpkin.
No pumpkin.
For PSL. So, on that note, guys.
Running note, 22 days.
We have a long while. In 22 days, it will not feel like fall, sadly, but we will have pumpkin spice latte. Regardless, it feels like fall. We're talking about football, guys. The coaches poll out today. Patrick, give us a rundown of what we're looking at in terms of SEC schools. Well, let's take a look at the top 5 first. A couple SEC schools. What is this? What are we looking at?
This is like we'll start with the SEC poll from the media poll.
Okay. Yeah, you produced the show. Tell me what you got.
So here was the media. So everyone voted at SEC Media Days a couple weeks ago. Well, besides
everyone was offered the opportunity.
Everybody's offered the opportunity, but sometimes you just get so busy and you
Sometimes.
don't fill your poll out, and then the poll time closes, and then you don't get your poll in. I
would not have
even
even thought about it until Patrick, in his giddy first time covering the SEC self, was like, I filled out the poll, and this is who I had winning. And I was like, oh, the poll. 15 years I've covered the SEC. I've never filled out the poll.
I think I've done it once or twice.
Yeah.
See, I'm upset because this was a golden opportunity to make our preseason picks.
I'll tell you right now who I think's going to win. Pull it. Let me see.
Pull it back.
Pull it up. Auburn.
Oh,
wow. That's a take. That's a take. I'm writing these down.
Okay.
Listen. Okay. All right. So this is your poll, or this is what the
media poll.
Okay. And how does your poll stack up against this one?
Well, I have LSU at the top. I'm not in on the Georgia hype.
The media disagrees. I mean, I agree. I stand by that.
I just don't see it in Gunnar Stockton.
Oh, I was talking more about Kirby, but I feel that. Yeah.
Well,
okay.
The guy's got 2 natties.
You know what? He'll let you know it too.
You know what stands out to me? Where is Texas?
Did someone mess this up?
I guess the media isn't too big on Arch in year 1?
Is this right?
I think Texas was 2.
Texas was 2. Okay.
Yeah, we just copied and pasted from the SEC media site.
Patrick just broke Cardinalson of producing shows.
No.
So Texas is 2?
Texas is 2 behind Georgia.
Okay.
Georgia is the favorite to win it. Texas is 2.
Okay, but if you're looking at the national poll, Texas is the number 1 team going into the year based on the coaches poll. So here's the coaches poll, and the cool thing about this, like we talked about off the top of the show with Roger Wallace from Austin, is that Texas is going to go to Ohio State week 1 of the season. It's amazing how, like, the college football gods, wherever they are, this sort of thing, how does it look? I would love to know when this game was put on the books. And that now going into this year, it's number 1 versus number 2. The reigning national champs are number 2. So Ryan Day has every reason to be mad than he already is. And so now Texas goes on the road, and here we are with this wonderful matchup in week 1 of the season.
Well, what's exciting for me about this is the fact that, like you said, not only is it 2 powerhouse programs, but to me, Quinn Ewers, I don't know when they put this game together, but Quinn Ewers was an Ohio State guy, and then he transfers to Texas. And I don't know if that was part of like the thought process going into that matchup. But to me, you have, like, those programs will travel. Yeah. And Texas fans will go to Columbus.
Oh, of course.
Whether or not they will get a ticket or not is left up for grabs. But to me, I think that
they won't be there.
Yeah, I know. And I think now that we have a 12-team playoff, this game is forgivable if you're Texas and you lose this football game. Yeah. So I think it had to do a lot with it too. But obviously these games are scheduled long in advance. And
I just think it's funny that it is scheduled long in advance, and that when it comes to the year that they're going to play each other, that the college football gods and the college football alignment is here is a 1 versus 2 match, and the coaches poll. I mean, obviously we'll see.
And I think the AP poll will be about similar.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. And this is what you get. I mean, we'll see, because a lot of times I do feel like the media sides with like the returning national champs.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if those 2 went the opposite way.
And I think this alludes to a point that you made earlier about the quarterbacks, and I think the fact that the quarterback situation is solidified in Austin and not solidified in Columbus is the reason why the pollsters went ahead and put Texas number 1. But also, when you think about Ohio State, we mentioned Ryan Williams on the cover of the new EA Sports college football game. There's 2 guys on that cover. The other guy is Jeremiah Smith, who had an unbelievable season at Ohio State as well. He's back for whoever is throwing him the football. This would be a phenomenal matchup. Must-watch college football.
Yeah, no doubt. Patrick, I got to ask, because your sister goes to Penn State. This is not a Big Ten show, so I'm going to ask you, what's Penn State doing there at 3?
Well, they've got Drew Aller coming back. I mean, I've got to be honest, I wasn't in on him 2 years ago. I got the chance to watch him go up against West Virginia 2 years ago, being a West Virginia grad. And, it seemed like the lights were just a little bit too bright for him. But then when Penn State and company rolled into Morgantown to open up last season, the hype was there. The McAfee show, he came.
Is the hype.
He is the hype.
It could be like a nickname. The hype.
The hype. He came to Morgantown. Everyone was there. There was a buzz around the town. Yes, I was. I wasn't at the show, but I drove by it, and I mean, you can't describe the amount of people that were actually in a town that cannot hold that many people. But what does James Franklin and Drew Aller do? I'm just going to mosey my way in and just drop. I don't know how many points it was. It was like 38 or something.
Yeah. Pull it up.
I mean, that game was not even close.
How did you feel in your family, just the rivalry there? Was Grace talking all types of smack or what?
Well, unfortunately, there was a weather delay at halftime, and she came back to my apartment with me, and that was just, that wasn't really a good feeling.
Nothing like a little brother and sisterly rivalry there, and playing out in Power 5 at the time, football.
Yeah. And here's the thing about
34-12, by the way.
30.
Wow, yeah.
That was
so bad.
That was a beat down.
And that 12 was like all in the second half too.
Hey, but keep in mind, Penn State got 14 first place votes. There's a lot of people who think Penn State could win a national championship, and I am here to tell you, I haven't done it yet, but I might be visiting a sports book here pretty soon and putting a futures ticket out on Penn State to win a national championship, depending on what the number is going into the year. I'm telling you.
Are there odds out for that yet?
Oh yeah, there are odds out. And
trust me. You've taught me everything I know about betting, which isn't a lot.
If the number's right, college football futures. I'm gonna put some college football futures out there, but I think everybody's going to go Texas. I think everybody's going to go Ohio State. I'm telling you, watch out for the Nittany Lions.
Yep.
I think Grace is going to be happy.
Yep.
Come January.
Patrick is going to be down here covering the SEC, and West Virginia will be doing whatever West Virginia does. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and we will have some more fun to wrap things up here on Southeast Sports Plus. Stay with us.
Show number 1, Southeast Sports Plus, returns for the final segment. This show has flown by number 1. They say time is relative, but this is absolute proof of that. We'll close the show with something fun here. The Heisman Trophy. We've seen a lot of SEC teams, or SEC players, I should say, win the Heisman Trophy. Question is, this year, is the sport's most coveted trophy going to a player from the Southeastern Conference?
Patrick?
Yes, and it's Arch Manning. It is 100% Arch Manning. I don't want to hear about, he has no experience. Garrett Nussmeier's better. No, there's a reason why Arch is getting the job. Well, not only because of his last name, but, this guy is talented. He's got great speed. He can throw it to anywhere on the field, basically.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go with a dark horse candidate.
Okay.
But he is in the SEC, so the answer to the question is yes. I'm going Garrett Nussmeier, LSU.
Is that really a dark horse?
He's a dark horse.
I'm looking at the Heisman odds winners. You know how I am about looking at the betting things. It's not great. So.
But if you're looking at that, look at the gap between Arch and Garrett. So it's like Garrett's in there with Clay Klubnik and whatnot. Yeah. Plus, that's a large gap. So.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
That's good to know. Listen,
from a betting sense.
Learning new things all the time. I got one. Ryan Williams.
He joined Devontae Smith.
Look out. We'll see. Guys, show 1 in the books. Patrick's giving us the countdown, so we got to go. We will join you tomorrow at 2 o'clock, 2 to 4, Southeast Sports Plus. We will see you back here on WKRG Plus app.